Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit from MinnLovesTheSceneryy, who says, am I the arsehole if I expose my mum's money problems to my dad after she spent my tuition? Hi, this is my first post, so sorry if it's a bit messy. I, 20 female, have always supported my mum, 43 female, even financially, and I usually try to understand her side. My dad, 44 male, works overseas and sends money twice a month for groceries, bills, and school. He usually sends it to my mum, who then distributes it. Earlier this month, my dad came home after working abroad for 6 months. He had all our expenses mapped out, including my tuition, since I'm an incoming second-year aeronautical engineer student, which is really expensive where I live. He gave my mum around $1,000 for my enrollment fee, and that is like 60% of the whole tuition fee. What my dad didn't know was that I still had a $350 balance from the previous semester. My mum used part of the $1,000 for that balance, and I agreed not to tell my dad because I trusted she'd figure out a way to cover the rest. Fast forward to last week. I finished my documents, reserved my enrollment, and was waiting for the tuition payment. That's when I found out my mum had already used the remaining money for reasons she won't explain. She's been trying to recoup it, but nothing has come through. Prior to that, she told me she had never touched my enrollment money since it'd be hard to recover. Today is the last day of late enrollment. If my tuition isn't paid by 6 p.m., I lose my slot. I already missed 2 weeks of classes, including major and lab subjects, and I completely broke down. I told my mum I'm tired of always having to compromise because she borrows or misuses money. I told her if this continues, I'll have no choice but to tell my dad everything. Not just about my tuition, but also about her gambling and borrowing habits I've helped cover up for years. The problem is, if I tell him, my parents will have a huge fight and he'll never trust her with money again. But I'm exhausted, and now my education is on the line. Am I the arsehole if I tell my dad the truth? Now, I don't think you're the arsehole in this situation, and it's sad that it's something that you've been carrying for this amount of time. Probably it should have come out sooner, as it sounds like there's some big issues there, which I won't go too much into because it just seemed to skim across them. But from the title, you're not exposing your mum's money problems, you're just being honest about a situation that's going to affect your future. And the huge fight that you're worried about between your parents, that's just going to be a natural consequence of your mum's choices in this, not from your honesty. The commenter says, first of all, I'm sorry you're in this situation. Honestly, I know it's difficult supporting someone when you know you shouldn't. I've been here. I don't think your mum will pay until the deadline. And even if she will, what about next semester or something else important? You're not the arsehole for telling your dad, but you are one for not telling him sooner. If he finds out you covered for your mum, he might be mad at you too. Rightly so. But be completely honest to him and prepare for a changed relationship with both parents. Obi says, not gonna lie. She already did this too last year, even using the money I earned from doing art commissions to lay her debts. The only time I managed to use that money for myself was when I bought a gaming keyboard. I didn't really tell him at first since before she managed to recover it. It's just now that I can't really tolerate it now because I benefited from it before though. I know my faults. Commenter says, that doesn't surprise me at all. Mind explaining how you benefited? I don't get that part, but maybe it's just my tired brain. Maybe says I'm actually not sure if this is called benefiting, but her borrowed money makes me buy stuff, which I actually need, but still borrowed money she can't pay on time nonetheless. Commenter replied saying, wouldn't call that benefiting. If she was responsible with money, she'd buy it without problems. She spent the family's money on gambling and God knows what. Opie says, before COVID though, it wasn't like this. It was only after COVID that money problems started happening. She borrowed money from online lending apps who have a huge interest and harassment since she had COVID, and things went down from there. Commenter says, sorry that happened to her. I can only guess here, but maybe spending money is a coping mechanism after all the stress that happened. If your dad's income would be enough to support the family, of course. Commenter says, tell your dad. It sounds like she may have a gambling addiction. Either way, it's financial abuse in my opinion. Your dad has a right to know what's happening with their money and not to be lied to. Opie says I actually considered telling him multiple times, but I'm just afraid of what the consequences will be. As the last time this happened, they had a huge fight and Dad wanted an itemized list of expenses. It was only recently he went lax and this is what happens. Opie also says I actually gave her until 5 PM to settle it, though I don't know if she'll be able to. I just want to cry thinking about it. Commodore says not the arsehole. Talk to your college to see if they have any aid or emergency fees. Opie says they don't accept promissory notes and I've actually reserved the enrollment last week. We're given a week to settle and then that spot will be given to others. 30 minutes later, OP just adds a mini update within the same post and says, my mum threatened me by saying if I tell my dad, there will be a huge fight and they might separate, and that dad won't want to see mum again. Someone replied to that straight away saying, definitely not the arsehole. Your father deserves to know the truth. Your mother definitely needs to be held accountable for her actions. If it means he'll never trust her with money ever again, then so be it. If your mother complains, tell her actions have consequences. Opie says it's kind of hard to say that to mum since I'll be labelled as an ungrateful child. I live in a very religious Asian country. I don't want my family to be broken, but at the same time, I can't tolerate this anymore. Opie comes in with a full update and says, another update for you. Dad was doing his medical earlier and contract signing, hence I wasn't able to tell him. Didn't want to talk about it on the phone. The moment he got home, I immediately told him about the situation, and while he was not mad at me, I could sense his disappointment, which I understand. I explained the whole situation, and after that, he went to confront my mum via call, since we're in the city and my mum is in our hometown. After a bit of grilling, mum eventually confessed that aside from using money to pay back the money she owed other people, she did use some for gambling in hopes of having a higher return, which unfortunately did not happen. They had a talk about it. I could sense that Dad was holding back, and Dad is now requesting a list of all people she owed and how much, though she has yet to reply. Dad also managed to find a way to get funds for my enrollment. Fortunately, it didn't become a reason for them to separate, though he has told me he'd be sending the money directly to us, my siblings and I, from now on, especially our allowances. I have no idea regarding the bills and groceries. Anyway, thank you all so much for your insights as it helped me make the right choice, which I did, and hopefully it helps mum overcome her gambling and tendency to borrow from other people. I'll be reporting to school tomorrow and appeal if they could still slip me in an available spot and we'll update. Top commenter on this one said, by any chance are you Filipino? I know some people like your mum who ends up in huge debt from gambling and borrowing money for gambling to the point they'll lie about what they need the money for when borrowing. They won't stop, they'll manipulate, and they won't care about the consequences, even if it affects their loved ones. It's good your dad will now be sending the funds to you and your siblings, but just make sure the money is sent/kept safely in your own bank that your mum has no access to, and to only give her what she needs. It sucks that the responsibility to pay bills, buy groceries and everything else will now fall on you guys, while juggling school. But I hope this will keep your mum from borrowing. If she ever tries to again, learn to say no, and if possible, try to have her blacklisted from lending apps, though I know it's difficult. She might end up making you or your siblings co-borrowers without knowing. Opie says, actually, yeah, I am Filipino. Regarding the other responsibilities, I have no worries since I can handle it. I'm used to paying my own bill since I started earning from digital art. It's only recently that I can't since I have no commissions. Additionally, Dad told me to tell him if Mum ever asks for money so he can monitor her. So, yeah. Regarding the lending apps, kinda difficult since harassment and all, and they contact everyone in her contacts. I'm one of those, unfortunately. Commodore says, how old are you, OP? It's not your responsibility to prevent fights between your parents. Your responsibility is to study, work hard, and make sure the money your dad is paying for your education is being maximized by you for that purpose. If they fight, it'll be because of your mum, not you. Opie says I'm 20 and the eldest of 3 siblings. My sister is in grade 9 and my younger brother is in elementary. So it's a little bit later that OP comes in with another update and says hello again, and I do apologize if it took a while for the update. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for their responses that helped me see that my mum's behavior should have never been allowed to continue. I fully accept the criticisms about me and I know my wrongdoings. Second, I told my dad about the situation. And while he was mad at first for me not telling him earlier, well, not the angry type but disappointed type, he managed to find a way to secure the funds for my tuition fee. I also managed to get enrolled just this Saturday, though I missed 2 weeks worth of lessons as well as an assessment. I spent the following day sending emails to my professors so I could catch up. Dad had a bit of a talk with Mum through video call, since Mum is currently in our hometown while my dad and I are in the city. I study in the city while my dad was here for his documents and medical. He pressed on questioning her until it was revealed that she gambled the money in hopes of a high return to pay the money she owes to various people, as well as return the money that was supposed to be for my education. Now, some of you might be wondering why my dad would finance my college. I'm actually from the Philippines, so culture here is a bit different, as there would be parents who would work so they can send their kids to college, and my dad happens to be one of those. Anyway, I also told my dad about the money she owed to my friends as well, and found himself questioning why Mum would borrow money when he would send most of his salary to us, which is admittedly more than enough if there had been no loans to pay. Since then, however, my younger sister told me that Mum seemed down, like she has no fight left in her and gave up completely. She was unusually quiet too. I have no idea what else is happening since she hasn't talked to me or Dad ever since. I did send a message to my mum explaining why I did what I did, and I do ask her about her to my siblings, since she had deactivated her account. Hopefully when she comes to the city to switch with my dad, who will then look after my siblings before he has to work again, we can at least bring back some of that bond we had before the entire fiasco happened. Once again, thank you all for so much for the kind and warm reception towards my dilemma, and I hope that none of you will go through what I experienced. Commenter says to OP, you are definitely not the arsehole. Your parents are though. He knew she had money issues and expected her to change without help. Really? Commenter replies to that saying, did OP say the mum never had help? Mum is the only arsehole here based on the info we have. OP says Dad has actually reminded Mum multiple times to stop gambling as no one ever really wins. It was only really after the pandemic that she started gambling more and more. She didn't even gamble except for when it was with my aunts, and that was in good fun and nothing serious. Commodore replies saying she has a gambling addiction. It would take a lot more than a reminder. And there was many people talking about the gambling addiction and talking about how it's on the rise again in many countries and cities all over the place. But to compromise your financial situation, use tuition fees on gambling, etc. definitely screams addiction, right? I knew someone with an addiction. Wouldn't admit it was an addiction. He was a manager at one of my jobs and would go out to lunch break sometimes, and he would go into this bookies to play on the machines, and he would like put £20 notes in for like a couple of spins on this machine and convince himself that he could trick the machine. And occasionally he did win big, like £300 or £400 in a spin. But this is after like a long time of putting a lot of money in the machine. But he would turn around to me and go, see, I told you I could trick the machine. And it would double, it would just convince himself even more. It was really sad to see. And when you try to explain to him that's not how these machines work, you know, you just have absolutely none of it. But I'm glad things seem to be moving in the right direction for OP at the moment. I'm still not sure on where things would go with the mum and the dad and moving forward there. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Our next story is titled, Am I the Arsehole for telling my sister-in-law the truth about my brother and my husband? I, 29 female, have a husband named Matt, 32 male, and an older brother named Tony, 32 male. Tony has a wife named Anna, 33 female. Tony and I both went to boarding school growing up. I went to an all-girls school and he went to an all-boys school across the country. Because of the distance, we weren't very close as kids, and I didn't know much about his life back then. When Tony was at boarding school, he met my future husband Matt, and they became best friends. At the time, Tony was dealing with depression about his sexuality, and Matt helped him out of it. Long story short, they ended up falling in love and having a relationship. Once they graduated high school, they broke up and lost touch. I didn't know about any of this at the time. I ended up going to the same university as Matt, which is where I met him. I didn't mention my brother initially because he wasn't really a part of my life, and since Tony and I have different last names, the three of us didn't put the pieces together into a family gathering a year later. I'm not gonna lie, It was tough at first for everyone involved, but eventually we were all able to get past it, and Tony and Matt became best friends again. Matt and I got married 3 years ago. When I met Tony's partner Anna for the first time, I privately asked Tony if he told her about his history with Matt. Tony said it was still a new relationship, and he would tell her when they were more serious. Now Tony and Anna are married. Since Tony and Matt are so close, they often go on boys' trips with just the two of them. They took one of these trips this past weekend, and everything was going fine until I got a call from Anna asking if I knew where Tony was. Apparently, he told her he was going to see our parents, but she called him and he wasn't there. I told her that he was on a trip with Matt. She got upset and asked me if there was something going on between them, thinking she already knew because she and Tony are now married. I told her not to worry because Matt and Tony's romance ended in high school. That's when I found out Tony never told her. Tony was furious at me when he got back because Anna is threatening divorce and I'm tearing up his family because I told her without asking him first. Apparently Tony didn't tell Anna the truth because he thought she wouldn't let him see Matt anymore, and now Anna wants him to cut me and Matt out completely. Matt is upset too because he can't see Tony and he's losing his best friend all over again. My brother wants to cut me out of his life. His wife wants a divorce and my husband is miserable, all because of something I said. I feel so guilty and can't help but feel as though I messed up. Am I the arsehole? Sceneryy says not the arsehole. This is on your brother. This was quite a big secret to keep from his wife, and he did tell you that he'd tell her when they got more serious, so it's only natural for you to assume, since they are now married, very serious, that he has told her. Then again, I can't help but wonder why he lied to his wife about being at his parents' place. Why couldn't he tell her he was with Matt, especially if they go on these boys' trips so often together? Has he lied to his wife every time they go? Yeah, no wonder his wife is fuming. Opie says, from what my brother's wife has told me, she never knew about the boys' trips until now. My brother apparently had different excuses for being gone every month, and that's why she got suspicious. She didn't tell me why she suspected something with my husband though. Neither she nor my brother will take any of my calls to give me any answers. Another commenter says, I'd be concerned about my husband taking one-on-one trips with his ex-lover. Does it not seem real to you because his ex is a man? Your husband was in love with your brother, romance over or not. This kind of sneaky behavior is a massive red flag. If his ex was a woman, would you still be this blasé? Not the arsehole for what you said to sister-in-law, but yeah, might want to look at that friendship a bit more closely when Tony is lying to cover up his trysts. Opie says, I think it's less him being a man and more it being my brother and husband, two people who I love and trust very much. I didn't want to believe that either of them would hurt me like that, but I'm starting to think I've been willfully ignorant to this behavior until now, when it's right in front of me. T says, you're the arsehole. Look, the bottom line is it's never okay to out someone. You may not have thought you were doing something wrong, and frankly I think it's creepy that your brother is lying to his wife in a way that makes her think he's cheating. But at the end of the day, outing someone is wrong. And this is an example of why outing people is harmful. Bi men get a lot of hate. Many bi men are assumed to be gay and that their girlfriends and wives are just part of their compulsory heterosexuality. They're the subject of a lot of serophobic vitriol. Bis in general are considered to be more promiscuous cheaters. And before anyone tries to point out that Tony was lying about going to his parents, I want to say it doesn't really matter. If you expect LGBT people to be perfect before they're worthy of safety, privacy and happiness, please just give me my damn downvote and go. OP replies saying, I haven't been replying to comments, but I just wanted to make a quick clarification. My brother is out as bisexual, including to his wife, who has known since they started dating. He came out to her himself. The only thing she didn't know was his history with my husband, so I didn't out his bisexuality to her, but I did tell her about Tony and Matt dating in high school. I'm bi myself, so I understand how terrible biphobia can be, especially for bi men, and I would never wish that for my brother or my husband. I still value your input though. I wish I handled it better for the sake of everyone involved. Roget says, I'm sorry you're going through this. I know it's a bad situation, but realistically, you have to realize that there is a very high likelihood that your brother and your husband are carrying on an affair. There's a reason that he lied to his wife. If he was just going out for a boys' trip, he would not have needed to lie. You are so close to the situation that you likely don't see, but your sister-in-law put 2 and 2 together before she even knew that there was potential for something to be happening. I think this is something you should probably pay attention to and talk to your husband about." Opie then edits the post and says, "I really appreciate everyone's comments. Some of them are very hard to read, but I suppose this is a wake-up call that's long overdue. I know it may seem difficult to believe that someone my age can be so naive and clueless, but being rational is something I've always struggled with. I wish it were fake. I'm realizing that this is most likely far worse than I thought it was. I won't be able to respond to individual comments for a bit, but I'm reading all of them in the meantime and will post an update when I can." Another edit says, "I've seen a lot of comments asking why I didn't say anything about the trip sooner / what I thought they were doing, so I just answer here for the sake of convenience. My brother has been struggling with severe depression for the past few years. Because of this, he doesn't go out much or have many friends. My husband is his only close friend and the only one Tony will open up to because my husband helped him through depression when they were younger. The outings with Matt are one of the few things that make my brother happy. Matt's always told me that they do regular things like play video games and watch movies and go biking, so I didn't think too much into it. Even with Matt being Tony's ex, I thought it was more like Matt was helping his friend through a tough time. I see now how stupid I was to assume that, but that was my thought process." Edit 3. Please don't let this post be a justification for homo/biphobia. Whatever happens with my brother and my husband isn't reflective of gay/bi people as a whole. Edit 4. Wow. I stepped away for a bit and there's a ton of comments. I won't be able to respond individually, as there's a lot going on right now, clearly, but I'll still be reading. Before I sign off, I have a couple of quick updates. Matt agreed to tell me everything after I've given him some time and space to process all this. As much as I, and probably you all, want answers now, that's what I'll be doing. Still no words from my brother or sister-in-law. I'm going to give it a rest for the day and try to focus on something that doesn't terrify me. I will be back with a separate update post when things make more sense. Thank you all. Also, I've seen Brokeback Mountain. Evidently, it's a lot more fun on screen than it is in real life. And it was around 21 days later that OP came in with that update and says, "I wasn't expecting at all my last post to get so much attention. To say that the comments were a wake-up call is an understatement. Many people wanted an update, so here it is. After I gave my husband space, I confronted him about his trips with my brother. He agreed to be honest with me about their relationship. As some of you suspected, Matt knew when we first met that I was Tony's sister and started dating me to get close to Tony again. He claimed that in the first year of our relationship, before he reunited with Tony, he genuinely fell in love with me. When Tony saw us together, he admitted to Matt that he still loved him and was distraught when Matt said he didn't feel the same way. Eventually, they made amends and became close friends again. Around the time Matt married me, Tony fell into a deep depression. That's when the trip started. Matt told me that initially he thought he was just supporting Tony as a friend, but Tony broke down on one of the trips and confessed that he never stopped loving Matt and was lying about the trips to his wife because he felt guilty. Also, why he never told her about their history. He begged Matt to keep this a secret to protect their relationship. According to Matt, nothing physical ever happened between them. I pushed him on why Anna thought there was something going on, and Matt eventually admitted that they were having an emotional affair. A few months ago, Anna overheard a phone call between Tony and Matt that made her suspicious, so she went through Tony's phone and confronted him about something she found. No hard proof, but enough to make her uneasy. She told Tony she didn't want him hanging out with Matt anymore, but he did anyway, until I accidentally ratted him out. My brother and sister-in-law have totally cut contact, so I didn't have anyone to corroborate my husband's story. I still don't know how much of it I believe. If it's true, I don't know why Anna never told me anything. The whole thing sounds too ridiculous to be real, but for now it's all I have. Matt has apologized non-stop and wants to work through this, which I can't even think about right now. The past couple of weeks have been awful. Matt moved out. We both agreed that we need distance before making any decisions about our marriage, but I don't see us coming back from this. I don't think I'll ever be able to trust anyone again. The worst thing is I only have myself to blame for being so fucking naive and not seeing the massive red flags sooner, and for marrying my brother's ex in the first place. More than anything, I feel so incredibly guilty. This was not the ending I'd hoped for, but I'm grateful that I at least have some answers now. Honestly, I'm not sure I would have had the courage to directly confront this if not for my post here. So despite everything, maybe we can all think of this as somewhat of a happy ending. Thank you all for your comments and support. Edit, the outpouring of love and support from this sub is incredibly moving to me. Thank you so much for all your comments, awards and messages. I cannot express how much I appreciate it. I can't respond directly to all of the comments, but rest assured you have my gratitude. Crystal Zelda says, I'm so sorry. I remember commenting on your post back then. This is not your fault. You did nothing to deserve this. Don't feel stupid. You trusted someone you loved, and unfortunately that trust was not honored. That doesn't make it your mistake. I hope you heal from this and find peace. What a terrible situation they put you and Anna in. Opie says thank you. It's been so hard to not blame myself. I can only hope that this pain will pass in time. Hobbit in Hufflepuff says, I'm sorry this happened to you, but I can promise you are not done trusting. Life is long and weird. Don't write your heart off yet. Within 6 months of my birth, my mum found out that not only my bio dad had been cheating their entire 8-year relationship, but that many of their friends knew, and he'd told them all to keep quiet about it because according to him, my mum already knew, but didn't want it mentioned. The divorce is long and bloody. It takes 5 years and he pulls out all the stops to ruin my mum's life to punish her for not putting up with his infidelity. He goes as far as to mistreat me to punish her. My whole young life, she honestly told me she could never see herself getting married again after a betrayal like that. Fast forward to when I'm 7. For a blind date she really didn't want to go on, but had no graceful way of ducking out of. She meets a man. His wife cheated on him, then left him for another man. And he's still reeling and trying to be a good single father. He is sweet and honest and kind, and he loves her more than his own life. He also loves me just as much as his own bio kids. A year later, they are married. A year after that, I get a new baby brother. Now my mum and stepdad are 19 years and counting. Now definitely sucks, but it's the lowest point. Maybe it would help if you did what my mum did. Buy yourself a big, pretty smelling candle. When you feel sad, light it. When you feel a bit better, blow it out. By the time it's gone and you can't light it anymore, you'll be feeling on average so much better than you are right now. So when you see the candle, you will know that you have that much wax left until it is nice again. Opie replied saying this comment made me cry for reasons I can't properly put into words. Thank you for sharing your story. I feel very comforted after reading it. The candle idea is brilliant and I will absolutely try it. Commenter says, I'm sorry this is happening to you. You've done nothing wrong. You trusted your husband and brother, which is something you should be able to do. You saw the best in them, and they failed you. I'm concerned you had to press your husband to get him to admit the emotional affair, and now he's claiming nothing physical happened. That sounds like trickle-truthing, and especially given the way he's pressing you to work through it instead of respecting your need for space, raises red flags to me. Please be gentle with yourself. Getting through this, no matter what the ending, will be a marathon, not a sprint. Hope you find peace and happiness down the road. Opie replies saying thank you so much. A marathon, not a sprint, is a great way to think of it. Right now it feels like this will never end, but I've been doing my best to remind myself that I'll get through it in time. And Gobsmack says, why do you feel guilty? You did nothing wrong. Nothing. Even telling the wife was based on what you thought your brother had done, not malice. You weren't the arsehole in the original post and certainly not the arsehole now. You have a tough road ahead. Your man lied to you. That will take some time. Opie says, I think the guilt is coming from me feeling as though Tony and Matt were each other's the whole time, and I was the one who stepped in the middle and ruined it. Rationally, I know that isn't true, but this whole thing has been such a shock to me that I can't get rid of the feeling. And I was very much not the arsehole for OP through all of this post. I mean, the red flags were absolutely there, but like some of the comments were saying, when you're that close to it, maybe you just can't see it. But like the two former lovers going on a weekend away, you know, that was red flag central for me. And one of them was lying to their spouse about it. And then one of the further comments later mentioned trickle-truthing because the guy was saying that it was only emotional and not physical. I didn't believe that for a second. But what do you guys make of this situation? What do you think that's going on? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay,